Welcome. 2 years ago, Sterling Publishers published Classical Life Drawing Studio, inspired by a recently found cache of drawings from the League's life classes from the turn of the century. The book focused primarily on life drawing then and now by our esteemed League instructors and James McElhinney. The book was received with great acclaim by the art education community as well as our own. Well, just published this month, the second book in the Art Students League series, The Visual Language of Drawing, Lessons on the Art of Seeing, reflects the art of drawing in our contemporary terms as taught by our League instructors, representing the broad array of vision that gives full measure to what the League has to offer. Written and edited by James McElhinney, I expect this receive even greater notices as an instrument of contemporary art education. And it is my distinct pleasure to introduce the author and our moderator, James McElhinney.
It's really been a great privilege over the last 4 or 5 years to work with brilliant colleagues and these very inspired artists and teachers to assemble these 2 books. It was also an apprenticeship for me because my training was not as a writer, but rather as a visual artist, who are not supposed to be terribly articulate, literate, or artistically inclined in the art of language, but I actually enjoyed the process a great deal. I learned a lot from it, and I learned a lot from my colleagues as a result of it. And while my name is on the book belongs to the League, and it belongs mostly to these amazing colleagues, these amazing artists who teach here. And I think one of the things that's interesting for me about working here at the League as an instructor has been that after more than 30 years of teaching in accredited higher education, coming to an environment like this, which is so inclusive and so just full of energy and the passion for working with real materials, thinking visually, and pursuing something really noble, dignified, and resonant in works of art, sculpture, painting, printmaking, and drawing. Drawing is sort of the glue that ties everything together. It is the visual language of drawing. It is both a language and a form, but mostly it's a language because everybody draws. Anytime you pick up a pencil and write your name, you're drawing. And I'd like to quote Rembrandt Peale, whose manual on drawing and penmanship, published in 1834, entitled Graphics, states in its introduction that the advantage, quote, the advantages of speech are enjoyed by almost all mankind, of whom but a small number advance to the refinement and power of eloquence in like manner, although only a few peculiarly talented may succeed in becoming proficients in the higher departments of drawing or painting, yet every one without any genius but application may learn the simple elements of this art in a degree sufficient for the most useful purposes. That's a very American kind of attitude towards things. I think if we advance 100 years into the future and we read Matisse's letter to Henry Clifford, who was the head of the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts in 1948, August the 14th, the day my parents were born, or were married, pardon me, strange Freudian slip, but he writes, drawing is of the spirit, color is of the senses, sort of trying to express some kind of order, some kind of way that drawing informs everything and is the underlying structure of artwork made in any style, any medium, for any purpose. But one of the best quotes that I've ever heard, and it is indeed close to my own credo of drawing, comes from the Japanese artist Hokusai in an introductory paragraph to one of the last volumes of his manga random sketchbooks that were very popular in Japan in the beginning of the 19th century. He writes, quote, "From the age of 6, I had a mania for drawing the form of things. By the time I was 50, I had published an infinity of designs, but all I produced before the age of 76 is not worth taking into account. At 77, I learned a little about the real structure of nature, of animals, plants, trees, birds, fishes, and insects. In consequence, when I am 80, I'll have made more progress. At 90, I shall penetrate the mystery of things. At 100, I shall certainly have reached a marvelous state. And when I am 110, everything I do, be it a dot or a line, will be alive. I beg those who live as long as I to see if I do not keep my word. Signed, Old Man Crazy About Drawing." Great spirit there, and a great message. And I want to now introduce these young men to you, all of them under 100. And it's my privilege to do so, and it's my honor to count them among my colleagues. And what I would like to do is first introduce Costa Vavagiakis. Well, Sigmund Abeles. I want to introduce Sigmund Abeles, who's a distinguished artist, painter, sculptor, lights off please, printmaker, brilliant artist in pastel, member of the National Academy of Design, and professor emeritus at the University of New Hampshire. I would also like to introduce Bill Behnken, who is also a member of the National Academy, is a brilliant printmaker, has numerous prizes and awards, exhibitions, long track record of achievement. And I would also like to introduce, as we go along, Bruce Dorfman, whose work, as you can see, is quite distinctive in its approach to both form and materials. I would also like to introduce Grace Knowlton, but she's not here, but I can introduce her in her absence, and hopefully she'll join us. And I would then like to introduce Knox Martin, who is a very large spirit here and a very powerful force, I think, and whose ideas about composition and space consumed the better part of an afternoon in the interview that we used to draw the content for his chapter in the book. I would then like to introduce Frank O'Kane. You can see, these are all, I should explain, these are all proof sheets. These are part of the working process of assembling the book. So we saw these early in the process. We could see all of the images arranged on a single page, and that helped us to sort of begin to understand how the book might come together as a unified body of images and concepts. And finally, I would like to introduce Costa Vavagiakis, who's, what can I say about you, Costa? Again, it's a wide array of approaches to teaching, a wide array of approaches to the use of drawing in studio practice. And what I would like to do to begin this program, after which there will be an opportunity for you to ask the panelists questions, is to invite the speakers one by one to make comments, brief comments, perhaps 3 minutes, 5 minutes, sort of like a Quaker meeting. It's just like what's on your mind about drawing. What do you want to say to this congregation, this temple of art? But before we do that, what I would like everybody to do is to make sure that all of your cell phones are turned off. We'll take a brief moment to do that. Check your cell phones. Better check mine. Maybe little chimes in there. Everybody good? What we will do now is we will hear from the speakers in descending alphabetical order, meaning the floor is all yours.